Phakchok Rinpoche, thank you very much for being with us this evening.
Thank you very much.
Tell us, what is Buddhist philosophy? How does it differ from other philosophers? I once talked to the Dalai Lama, who told me that Buddhism is not necessarily a religion, that it can accept every religion. Is that so?
Buddhist teaching is very simple, actually. It's actually based in the mind, and it's very simple because everybody don't want suffering, and who really suffer is the mind, and who wish to be not to suffer is mind. So Buddhist teaching is based on the mind. So Buddha said very clear, he said his own word, should not do physically, verbally, mentally something that harmful others or yourself, and should do something that benefits yourself and others. But then especially Buddhism said, Buddha said, tame your mind from negativity emotions, and that is the Buddha Dharma.
Some people who don't know Buddhism believe that the Buddha is a kind of a god, but that's not the case. Am I right?
Yes. In the West, our understanding of God is, in our Buddhist idea of Buddha is different. Reason behind the Buddha we accept as a teacher, because he teaches things make sense. And so he is as a teacher, but he doesn't create the teachings. He said the teaching is the base of the human mind, but he shows what is actually going on. And especially he said very clearly that, for me is very helpful, is he said, do not believe right away what I say. Check, recheck, investigate, like a goldsmith checks gold. And you find it's valid, you find something is meaningful, then you want to practice, you should. But you don't see any valid, you don't see anything valuable, then you should not practice.
Reincarnation is an integral part of the scheme of thought of Buddhism?
Yes, yes, we do. Because reincarnation is not the physical, they again talk about the mind. Everybody thinks mind is only sort of one, but it is a belief. Buddhism says you are not one. Now, right now, this moment is already past. Second moment arises, you have different steps, different kind of thoughts arises. So each mind, each thought is a reincarnation of the previous thoughts. So Buddhism says that you see right now the mind produced, increases a different stream of mind. That means mind must have a part of mind who comes from the mind. So that we talk about mind is very important.
Is Buddhism a way to decipher reality, decipher nature, trying to understand exactly what the world is?
Yes, it's true. And that's why His Holiness Dalai Lama and the scientists, for example, like physicists, scientists, they have very thinking is very close to the Buddhist ideas, because the Buddhism idea is to find out the truth, and we know what is the truth.
What do you teach people who tell you, I want to learn Buddhism? What are the basic things that you teach? And I understand that teaching actually can take many, many years. What's the purpose of the teaching? What's the goal of the teaching?
The teaching's the goal is that depends on the individual. But everybody, we have the same goal in our life. We want to live life comfortable, emotionally comfortable, in a different way of comfortableness. So that goal is your goal. And what we teach is...
But you're certainly not a hedonistic cult, or you're not just looking for just physical comfort.
No.
Am I right?
Yes. But that is, we're not going to debate you, we're not going to prove. What we're going to say, you need to find out yourself, but we're going to give you the method, and you need to see yourself. Generally, what we teach public is what kind of emotion you have, what kind of character you have, what kind of person you are. You really want to be happy, and what are you doing is really towards the happiness, or you're doing something else and you wish to happy, but you're doing something else that makes you unhappy.
Do we all have the potential to be happy?
Yes. Because of that reason that Buddhism teaches that every beings, and specific human beings, whatever race there is, whatever culture there is, one thing you have is your mind. And when your mind, you decide your mind. So that's why definitely you have the potential to be happy.
How can one individual attain perfection?
You need to go through a training, different variety of training. For example, like training in compassion, training in being mindfulness, in what you're thinking, what you're saying, and finding out why you're having this problem. And through this process, then we're going to train you meditation. So I went through different variety of training, variety of experiences, like anger, emotions, life, thinking, And through the practice, through the way of thinking, and I'm changed. And I'm telling people, I was 7 years ago, I'm very short-tempered, I said. I'm so angry that I punch.
It's hard for me to think of you as short-tempered and punching
definitely.
someone.
Yes, I was that, but not now. And I tell people that, yes, everything is emotion. Everything is emotion, but everything is impermanence. All emotion is impermanence. It changes. You don't have the quality from the beginning. It's change. So definitely you're going to change better. But you need to know how to change. So the Buddhist has a technique, whole series of techniques, of 2,300 years of techniques, how you can change.
Have you found that Mexicans are interested in Buddhism? I know that you've come to Mexico a number of times. Do you find an interest on the part of Mexicans towards Buddhism?
Oh, definitely. Buddhism teachings is very humble, very accepting. We accept any belief in any culture and any religion. So we like to ask questions and debates, but we don't like to say bad things about other faiths and beliefs and cultures.
I remember once I talked to the Dalai Lama, and he told me, we respect everyone. I mean, if you're a Catholic, it's great. If you're a Protestant, it's great. If you're a Muslim, that's great. That's not what we're all about. Our philosophy can apply to any religion. Is that true?
Yes, I think so. People in Asia, they take Buddhism as a religion because they take as a very faithful path. They really believe in. But the real Buddhist teachings is not based on the belief. It's based on the fact. The fact is the certainty. When you're angry, you're going to be unhappy. It's a fact. So that is not belief. You don't need to believe that. It's a fact. So the real Buddhist teachings, the value, is the fact. So wherever I go, included Mexico, they do accept, understand the fact. So I just recently, just 3 days ago, I did a retreat training, meditation training retreat for 4 days. So the people are improving, much improving. So it's amazing.
Does Buddhism help you manage your anger?
Yes, definitely. Not only anger, emotions, particular sadness, And I usually tell.
But those emotions are good at the same time. If you never feel anger, if you never feel sadness, you might never be happy.
Happiness is not a feeling. When you have
is it a state of mind?
It's calmness. It's calm mind. That's why I use the word of people wanting to have comfortableness. I don't use happiness. When you have comfortable, happiness is just comes, arises. When you meet a friend, you're happy. But you're not comfortable yourself. Your friend comes, the happiness doesn't increases.
Is meditation an integral part of Buddhism? Do you think it's meditation something very important for Buddhism, an integral part?
Yes, it's very important. Meditation is very important. But people don't understand what is the real purpose of meditation.
What is the real purpose?
In the beginning, the meditation, the purpose is to have a master your mind. That is the purpose. I usually tell people that, the Parkinson's disease, that you don't have no control towards your nerve.
Yes.
When you look at your mind, you have a Parkinson's diseases in your mind.
Sometimes most people do, or because we don't control our minds?
Everybody, you cannot control. Situation comes, you become that emotional with the situations. You don't have no conscience to understand how to behave. You just react. You drive a car in Mexico City, somebody shout at you, you're going to shout back. It's very normal. But they have any reason behind shouting back? It make you, traffic jam less?
No.
Or you be happy? No, but just to react. So
you generate even further risks.
Exactly.
And more problems.
Exactly. So it's the Parkinson's diseases.
You've said to us a number of times that we have to control emotions. However, I see you smile all the time. I see a very pleasant smile and a very I know you didn't want to use the word happy, but I see a very happy, comfortable attitude towards life. I mean, that's something you can achieve by eliminating emotions or by just controlling what your mind is doing?
Sorry about using the controlling, because in our meditation training, Buddhism training, we don't like to say controlling.
That's perfect.
We like to say tame, train.
Okay, tame emotions.
Tame, and transform. This is we like to use word. So definitely, like for example, now I'm smile. Yes, you know, I'm happy. But the key is I'm not attached to the happiness. We don't. I don't want to remind myself not to have too much hope about my smile, about comfortableness. Whenever you have attachment and hope to that comfortableness, and that comfortableness makes you suffer more.
What's happened to you when you personally, when you've suffered a loss, the loss of a relative, the loss of someone you love?
Oh, definitely. That is the whole Buddhist idea. Every day we need to remember, anyone loved one is going to die, and you're going to die. And that's why we see the value of the day by day. We don't imagine, oh yes, because human mind, we like to take for granted. And I do take for granted too. That is very emotional, very sort of a habitual tendency, is habit. But it's taking, that kind of take for granted, it doesn't really make you happy. So every Buddhist trainings, we do that. When I have loss, in the beginning time, I lost my grandfather in 1996. That's very difficult, because I am a practitioner, but I'm not in a deep dead practitioner. So after that, I faced a lot of people who I know who died, and people who my friends who died like that. So I have a compassion. I practice compassion, but at the same time, I don't have no attachment towards the compassion. Then I practice a little bit whatever I can. Then we try to practice how much we can, advise how much we can.
What do you think of life in a monastery? Does it really help you to be comfortable with yourself?
Definitely. It's for example, like you want to have holiday, and many times in the Western culture, and I don't know, in Mexico, you like to go to holidays like Cancun, or I don't know, some places in the beach, wherever you go. Definitely, that environment makes you that happiness. The stages, the state of the happiness, helps you by the environment. So monastery is a system that helps you to remind yourself in practice. When you really want to practitioner, you want to be practice. So monastery is a very good system to be yourself a little bit more, cautious in mindfulness and a little bit better. Yeah.
Is it difficult to learn how to meditate?
I don't think so. I think it's really difficult to do things like interviewing, discussion. I feel it's more difficult.
I find it very easy.
It's very good. So the meditation is very, very, very simple too. Because right now you are on stage in focusing what to talk. Your mind completely in the focus state. That is already have the quality of the meditation. That is the quality of the focus.
And when I'm meditating, what happens with me? Do I abstract myself from reality? Do I become oblivious to what's happening around me?
You're keeping your mind as a natural way. So everybody likes now naturals. Organic, earth-loving, happy, natural, So Buddhism talk about it, how to be natural. Unnatural is anger, jealousy, pride. This is unnatural.
Is vegetarianism an essential part of Buddhism?
In the Buddhist teaching, in the Buddha himself, his teaching is very interesting. He said, whatever gives to you, you should eat. But then he says, you never wanted to be vegetarian because of your compassion. You should be vegetarian. It's very good. But then he says, you want to eat any kind of meat, just go ahead. So he gives 3 ideas, because he says everybody has different ideas, different capabilities, different personalities. Buddhism idea is not to make a law that everybody need to follow. He says, I give these varieties, you just follow different ways, how you practice, what you practice, Of course, vegetarian is very important in Buddhism, but we don't push too hard. We say, but then it's your decision, it's the most.
Phakchok Rinpoche, what would be the most important thing we should know about Buddhist philosophy?
Being comfortable, transforming the emotions, transforming your life, and get a perfection in your life and happiness.
It's that simple?
That is the simple goal, yes.
I do want to thank you
Thank
for,
you very
for
much.
this conversation. Phakchok Rinpoche,
Yes.
thank you very much.